Good morning, Facebook. Christopher Hart here with Transforming Lives Coaching and Consulting. And so we're continuing our series of what we call Lead Strong. And it's a leadership series, and we're covering various different topics. And up to this point, we've covered the understanding of what leadership is. Then we endeavored into understanding the 5 different levels of leadership that can help provide us a model for many leaders to be able to navigate the journey from how to start in leadership or how to get back to the foundation and all the way to being what we call a pinnacle leader. And that looks like the 5 levels. Just to kind of rehashes, the first level is to be a great follower. Follow something or someone great so that you have a model by which to resort back to when need be. Second level was lead thyself, right? We must understand that we have to lead ourselves before we can lead other people. Level 3 is how to lead another. And lead another is about that one person that you lead. It's about the one-to-one, right? You may have multitudes of people in your organization, but it's about how do I lead each person one-on-one. Level 4 is leading multitudes, right? So if you have an organization, you have a business, charity, 501c3, anything of that nature, your own family, right? How do you lead your family? How do you lead a group of people in the direction that you want to take them, they want to go, etc. And then level 5, the pinnacle, is how do we lead leaders, right? It's about creating multitudes. It's about duplication and expansion of your vision, your mission in life, and your business, and your charitable organization, etc. So those are 5 different levels, and those are important to understand because as we navigate this series, we're always going to resort back to those. So I just wanted to bring that top of mind awareness for you guys. But today we're going to talk about how do we get our people into consistent, purposeful action. And I think 2 words, if you look at the headline of this video, I capitalized 2, or actually 3 words: consistent, purposeful, and action. The key in leadership is getting our people into consistent, right? Like time on task over time. Not intermediate or, every once in a while they're taking action, right? Like 3 out of 5 days they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. How do they do it consistently, day in, day out, over a sustained period of time? And purposeful, right? I think purposeful is probably the biggest word out of that whole segment of words that we need to be focused on as leaders. Purposeful. It's what they're doing has a purpose. And I think where a lot of leaders fall short with leading people is they understand the purpose of the action, but they're people that come to work every day, they don't understand. They just think it's just something that they're either paid to do or it's something that they have to do because the leader's telling them. So let's break this down and let's see kind of how we can improve our leadership and really pour into people at a high level so we can help them get what they want, and in turn we receive what we want, and that's what we call success through people. So when we look at consistent and purposeful, even though our English language tells us to say consistent, purposeful action, we actually have to look at it as purposeful, then consistent action. And what that looks like is when we say purposeful, it has a purpose, right? And I think sometimes where leaders tend to focus with their people is what's the purpose of this in relationship to the job, the goal, or the business goal, or the business's big picture. And really where you have to go with it as a leader is the purpose that it has for that individual doing the job. Okay, like what is the purpose of that action in that leader's, or excuse me, that subordinate's life, that person's life that's part of your organization, your business, etc. So let's take a look at that. So when we say leadership is about helping people get what they want when they want it, it's about understanding people's desires, right? There's a saying out there that says, the purpose, or my definition of business is the purpose of business. Now, when we say business, it could either be role or a business if you own a business. So if you're an employee, or if you're someone within a organization that assumes a role, and you're maybe not the organization leader or you're not the business leader, just understand when I say business, it also relates to your role. So the purpose of your role or the purpose of business is to live a life on purpose. So what does that look like? When you wake up and you go to work every day, whether you run that business or you have a role within an organization or business, the purpose of that is so that you can generate some sort of outcome. And for most people, it's income, right? It's money. And so you run that business, you perform in that role so you can receive some sort of value, most of the time income, so that you can pay for your life on purpose. Whatever you believe your purpose of your life is, whether it's defined by your spiritual journey or it's defined by what you want out of life, you have to fund that in some sort of manner. Okay. And that's just a reality. You know, there's many people that think that, you know, money's not everything. And I agree with that to a certain degree, but money does allow us a lot more options in life, and it does allow us to make more things a reality. And it also allows us to be able to do more good in the world. So we understand that when we show up every day, it's about that, right? It's not about doing a job. It's not about lead generating. It's not about, you know, typing stuff into a computer and, you know, processing administrative information. Whatever you do, it's not about that. It's about doing that so that you can receive a result that leads to your ability to live the life that you desire for yourself, or the purpose that you feel you have in your life. So when we rewind, right, as leaders, helping them get what they want when they want, we first have to understand, what is it that they want? And all too often I see leaders, well, they'll sit down with their people, or, you know, when I coach and educate leaders or consult them, I'll say, you know, what do your people want? And they'll say, oh, well, this person wants to make 100,000 this year. This person wants to make 250,000. I'm like, no, what is it they want? Remember, that's just the indicator. That's just the income that drives really what they want or desire out of life. And leaders are missing that critical component, that what do their people really want out of life? I call the income is nothing more than the result. And what they do with the income in their life is what I call achievement. And as leaders, we need to understand the achievement that people want in their life, because you can make 100,000, $250,000, you know, 500,000, $1 million, whatever the number is, and still do nothing with it. If it sits in a bank account, like, what good is that? Unless that has a purpose, right? Or you can make $100,000 and spend 99,000 and be broke, and your life still looks the same. There's no achievement there. So what's important about making that 100,000? Is it about, you know, being able to pay off debt that's going to release some stress in your life, that's going to afford you more opportunities to invest for, you know, your future, maybe put a down payment on a car, be able to save for your kids to go to college? Like, that's achievement. When you can make $100,000 to do all those things that you desire for your life, and that actually comes to fruition, that's achievement. And as leaders, that's where we have to take our people. We have to understand that. And when we understand that, that becomes the very premise and foundation of our conversations with them. And those consistent conversations, I believe, will lead to consistent, purposeful action. Because the people grow into the conversations that you have with them. And if the conversations that you have with them is about them and what they want and the actions that they need to take, or actually have a purpose. Like, hey, when I was in real estate, what you always heard was, you know, lead generate, lead generate, lead generate. You have to lead generate every day. Now, who in the world likes to be told what they have to do every day, especially when it's something that nobody really likes to do? I mean, let's be real. Nobody really likes to lead generate. I never even really liked to lead generate. But you want to know why I did it? Because I understood that lead generating created leads for me to continue the conversation with people, to acquire appointments, to be able to meet and consult people on buying or selling a home, so that they can hire me. And by hiring me, we can either sell their home or find them a home and go under contract, and contracts lead to closings. And when we had closings, we made money. And when we made money, that's when we were able to actually live out the purpose or desires for our life. So I tied that all the way back into understanding that that lead generation activity had a purpose. It was the igniter for the end result, which is what I desired in my life. So it's no longer that I liked or disliked lead generating. It's I understood it was the catalyst for what I truly wanted in my life. And what I understood every single morning that I showed up to my real estate business was, if I did not do that activity, then the reality of all those other activities of appointments, agreements, contracts, closings, and money, the likelihood significantly declined. And yet when I did it, I basically did the one thing that makes the biggest difference in what I really wanted for my life. So guess what? I did it. I didn't do it because I like to do it. I didn't do it because some coach or mentor or someone that I worked for told me I had to do it. I did it because it was what I wanted to do. It had a purpose. And the purpose was to achieve the end result of income. That was the very catalyst to the life that I get to live. Okay? So when we talk about consistent, purposeful action, it's about understanding the purpose of the activities that your people have to do. And even if it's just like, an admin that works for you, that activity that they show up and do every single day has a purpose for the business to be able to achieve income so that the business can pay their salary, so that their income can support the life and the expenses that they currently have in their life. Okay? So that's the purposeful end of it. When we talk about consistent, we understand that in order to achieve the results that we want, it's time on task over time. Look at and study any successful person. They will not get up on stage, write a book, or preach from some sort of video or platform and tell you, I achieved success because, I showed up every once in a while and did what I was supposed to do, right? Like that whole 4-hour work week, that's a lie. Right? Like, let's not lie to each other. I understand the premise of the book, but let's not lie to each other and understand that you can achieve success in 4 hours. What Tim Ferriss is talking about there is he did 4 hours of purposeful activities, but in that it was every single day, right? It wasn't, I do it 4 hours on Monday and I'm done Tuesday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday. It's showing up time on task over time. And I'll tell you something right now, what I understand about success, both in my studies and in my experiences, is time on task over time is what's going to cause you to win, is what's going to cause you to outperform your competition. Because the reality is, if we all struggle with how to get our own people into consistent action every single day, then most likely our competition's doing that, and we ourselves struggle with that every day, right? Like diets or gyms or your business. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing every single day? And that's where we cover it in leadership level 3 of how do you lead thyself. So just understand those two components. Time on task over time, just that alone, time on task over time, consistency will trump skill and talent every single day. Because the person with skill or talent is most likely not going to show up every single day. And if you show up every single day over a sustained period of time, you'll gain the skill, you'll gain the talent, you'll gain the experience, and you'll be kicking your competitors what. Now, tie that with understanding why you're supposed to do what you're doing, right? Real estate agents understand that lead generation is not to just lead generate because someone at a higher level is telling you to. It's because that's the very activity that's going to lead you down the path to achieving the goal, the income that you desire for your life, that's going to allow you then, in turn, to afford the life that you want, right? We all want to be rich, but we don't want to do the things that rich people do. See, that's where we fail. And as leaders, we need to tie people into the purpose of the activities that they've been hired to do. And the key to that is you recruit them to that. You don't recruit them to some phantom, the world's going to be a wonderful place. And then all of a sudden, you got to lead generate. No, you help them understand. Are you willing to wake up every morning, show up day in and day out, even when you have the sniffles and your tummy hurts and your head hurts and maybe you didn't sleep that well that night? Are you willing to show up every single day, fight through the pains of life, because they're going to show up, and do what you're supposed to do because it has a purpose for either the business that's going to support your income or your activities that's going to support your income and help you live the life that you want to live. So take those things into consideration, people. It's about consistent, purposeful action, helping them define the purpose of their actions. And as a leader, you help them understand that doing this day in and day out, time on task, over time, is what's going to cause them to win. Hey, if you have any questions about anything we've covered up to this point, the understanding and definitions of leadership, the model or the levels that we talked about, the 5 levels of leadership, or about how do we really dig into, like, what do those conversations sound like? Tomorrow, show up, we're going to talk about what do those conversations sound like that help people keep top of mind awareness of the purposeful action that drives them. It also becomes that internal drive for them to show up and want to do it every single day and not be told to do it every single day. So approximately same time tomorrow, we'll circle back around. We'll talk about leadership conversations that keeps people's activities, those purposeful actions, top of mind, that creates their self-motivation, that causes them to do the things that they need to do, that we want them to do, that drives the results and makes us better leaders in their lives and in our own lives. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you all have a blessed day. Just remember, God loves you and so do I. Be blessed. Take care.